Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to do an example over here according to the last part which I shared with you guys. Hopefully you have seen. I would strongly recommend you to go and watch that part first so that we could we could solve this given example according to the concepts discussed in that part. So without further ado, let's start doing it. Okay, in the reading passage we're gonna have a list of headings, and we have 5 paragraphs A to E. So one they have done as a sample for us, A, which I'm not going to show you because we are going to solve it by ourselves, and let's start doing it. Okay, so these are the headings: economic and social significance of tourism, the development of mass tourism, travel for the wealthy, earning foreign exchange through tourism, difficulty in recognizing the economic effects of tourism, the contribution of air travel to tourism, the world impact of tourism, the history of travel. So these are the 8 headings. Normally, what we have over here, 5 paragraphs, but one is done already. So we are going to have A to A is going to be 5 paragraphs. A is done, so we have 4 paragraphs. We need to give the appropriate headings. So we are going to be left with 3. Okay, so total we have 5, so 3 are extra over here. So let's go through paragraph one by one. So I'm not going to share you the sample answer, okay, because we are going to we are going to find the heading by ourselves. Okay, so let's move on. This is the first paragraph. You can see over here. This is the passage with 5 paragraphs. The first one is: travel has existed since the beginning of time. When primitive man set out, the early man, we can say, often traversing great distances in search of game which provided the food and clothing necessary for his survival. So this is an adjective clause, which provided the food. So that is going to be describe, because it's an adjective clause and it is going to describe the word game over here. What game, for what game people cover the distances. People go from one place to another, and the game was that which could provide them with the food and clothing and other basic necessities of life for his survival. So a time reference is given. Primitive is also a time. Okay, it is going to speak about the time. Okay, now this is the central idea of the paragraph. Okay, as I told you already, for the first 3 or 4 lines are going to give you the central idea of the paragraph. So travel, main keyword. This paragraph is going to speak about travel and the time. It has to do something with the time. Okay, people have traveled for purposes of trade, religious conviction. In further details, explanation, the main idea we can we have got the central idea of the paragraph, and the whole paragraph is going to speak about the same idea, that why people travel, okay, and throughout the history. So time and travel. Okay, so these are the 2 keywords. So history, okay, let's continue to read. People have traveled for purposes of trade, religious conviction, economic gain, war, migration, and other equally compelling motivations. Okay, in the Roman era, again a reference for the time. Okay, so history. Okay, let's move on and let's see what headings do we have with us. Okay, so if we look at the headings, we're gonna have economic and social significance of tourism. Okay, the development of mass tourism. Okay, one point I would like to highlight over here. Let's go back to the first paragraph. Okay, just look at the last words, last sentence. Okay, let me read that sentence. Travel except during the dark ages. Again a reference of history, a historical reference. Okay, dark ages has continued to grow and throughout recorded history has played a vital role in the development of civilization and their economies. So if we look at the keywords, in the last sentence, in the last line, civilization and their economies. So these are the two keywords. If we look at the heading at number one position, economic and social significance of tourism. Don't be tricked with this, okay? Because this economic and civilization, and the word that has civilization means social. This is the synonym. So don't be tricked with this keyword, because these two keywords are used as a reference for the explanation, okay? But the central idea is speaking about more about the history and travel, okay? So let's look at any other option. If you look at the number 8, so we're gonna see the history of travel. So that is going to be the right heading for this paragraph, because the central idea for this paragraph is going to be travel linked with the with the perspective of historical background. So that is going to be the main central idea of the paragraph, and the whole paragraph has spoken about travel and history, okay, in which the references have been given, like dark ages and in Roman era and throughout the history, okay, and primitive man. So the whole paragraph contains a lot of keywords which can like explain us that travel has to do something with the history, okay, not the economies and the civilization, okay. So those are the keywords available in the paragraph, but don't link those keywords and don't be tricked or don't be fooled, okay. So be careful. Okay, let's move on to the paragraph B and look at like paragraph A. We have the right answer that we have selected. That is going to be 8, okay. So the history of travel, it's going to be very easy now for you guys, but we're gonna do that, okay. So let's look at the paragraph B, and we are going to find or designate the right headings, okay. Tourism in the mass form as we know it today is a distinctly 20th century phenomenon. Historians suggest that the advent of mass tourism began in England during the industrial revolution, with the rise of the middle class and the availability of relatively inexpensive transportation. Next we're going to have the explanation, okay. So idea is there. So let's look at the keywords. Tourism, okay, in the mass form, okay. So mass form, so either this is going to be the central idea of the whole paragraph. Tourism was established in the mass form, okay, as we know it today, is a distinctly 20th century. This is the century, 20th century. Tourism took the mass form, okay. And historians suggest that the advent of mass tourism began in England. So again, mass tourism, a reference is given for when and where the mass tourism has developed first. So England. So the whole paragraph is most probably is going to speak about the mass tourism and how it has established and what played a vital role in the establishment of mass tourism, okay. The creation of the commercial airlines industry, blah blah blah. All the things are going to speak about how the mass form of tourism was established, okay. So all of that, okay. So let's look at the headings, okay, because we are very much clear. Again, let's read the last sentence, okay. So it is starting from in turn, international tourism became the concern of a number of world governments, since it not only provided new employment opportunities but also produced a means of earning foreign exchange. So foreign exchange is the reference. This is the keyword that is given over here, but foreign exchange is not the central idea of this paragraph. The central idea of this paragraph is mass tourism, okay, mass form of tourism or whatever. So this is not the central idea, foreign exchange. So don't be fooled, because you can see in the headings we're gonna have both of them. Look at the fourth point, earning foreign exchange through tourism. So don't be tricked, don't be fooled, okay. So the mass, let's look at the mass tourism, okay. If we have any economic any term that is either synonym or mass itself is available, the term. The development of mass tourism on number 2. So that is going to be your answer. Okay, because the whole paragraph, the central idea of the whole paragraph is going to speak about the tourism in the mass form. Okay, so the development of mass tourism is going to be your right answer. So the paragraph B is done, and don't be fooled with the term foreign exchange because of the keyword that is given at the end of the paragraph. Okay, let's quickly move towards paragraph C. Tourism today has grown significantly in both economic and social importance. So that is going to be very clear. Okay, so so this is going to be the central idea. Let's confirm that. In most industrialized countries over the past few years, the fastest growth has been seen in the area of services, one of the largest segments of the service industry. Although largely unrecognized as an entity in some of these countries is travel and tourism. So definitely significantly both economic and social importance. If we look at the example, the references for the explanation, according to the World Travel and Tourism, again don't be tricked with the world, with the keyword world over here. Okay, because all of the underneath this line you can see all the data, all the information has been discussing about the economic values. Like if you look at the words like economic measure, okay, including value added capital investment, employment, these are the economic terms. Okay, so I'm very much clear that economic and social importance is going to be the keyword of this paragraph. Okay, and all of the explanations, and within the explanation phase we can see all the terms are linked with the economic are the economic factors. Okay, like million jobs, travel and tourism industry is the world's largest employer with almost 130 million jobs. Okay, so the word is mentioned over here, but the world travel and tourism has nothing to do with the central idea of the paragraph. Okay, the central idea of the paragraph is going to be the significance or the importance of travel and tourism economically as well as socially. Okay, so that is going to be the very first heading. I remember that economic and social significance of tourism. So this is going to be the right heading for this paragraph, because the whole paragraph is speaking about importance of tourism in context to economic as well as social significance, you can say, or economically and socially, how tourism is valuable, how tourism is playing a very vital role, very important role, key role. Okay, so if we look at the heading, the word impact of tourism, don't be tricked with the word world over here. Okay, so that has nothing to do with the heading of the paragraph. Okay, so we are done. So C paragraph is also done. Okay, let's move on the next paragraph.